Welcome back, everyone. J-Bone here for Smash This Podcast. A little late on a Monday. I realize that. So what are we doing here? We are going to talk some AEW Forbidden Door. Took me a good part of the day to get through it because I was busy with other stuff. So I was watching it in parts, pieces, Couple matches here, go do some stuff. Couple matches here, go do some stuff, Eat dinner, come back, watch the rest. Hope everyone's weekend was good. Some big news coming out of Forbidden Door, and we're just a couple days away now from Blood and Guts hitting, was it Detroit? I think it's Detroit, Michigan. That should be nuts. So at least we finally found out who is going to be on Eddie Kingston's team, or is it Moxley's team? Moxley's a champ. Shouldn't it be Moxley? But Moxley's going to be in there too. Hopefully no one else becomes injured over the next few days, because there's been like an injury a day in this company between New Japan and AEW. Oh my God. It's an absolute miracle this event got pulled off. But before we dive into Forbidden Door, I want to talk about a couple things first. Number one, you know what to do, folks. Smash that like button, smash that sub button, ring that bell for notifications. Check out all the links in the description of the video here, or if you're listening on audio, you should have the description there too. There is some brand new merch dropped this afternoon, a new piece of artwork on the Smash This Podcast merch site. Something new, something fresh for this summer. So go check it out. If you're watching on video, you can see it now. If you're listening on audio, well, you're just going to have to go to the shop and see what's new. And I believe in a couple days, is it Friday? I got to double check. There's some big sale coming up soon. It's like 22% off. I love Spreadshirt. They got sales all the time. All right, so go check out the links in the description. Get yourself some STP merch for the summer. Tanks, tees, cups, hats, all that lovely stuff. What else? We've got some updates on Impact Wrestling's Against All Odds event that's going to be live this coming weekend. Is it Saturday? No, Friday. Excuse me. It's Friday. I like that they're having these like events on Friday now, and then they got tapings on Saturday. That's good. It's a good way to do this. Like that. So, some updates to the cards here. Now, unfortunately, the Briscoes are taking out or have been taken out of the was it this 5-on-5? It's Honor No More versus James Storm. the Good Brothers, and now it's going to be 2 other partners. So we're going to find out who is replacing the Briscoes, but mainly because Mark just had a new baby. He wants to spend some time with his new baby. It's completely understandable. So they got kind of written off television. As much as I'd love to see Jay stick around, I think there's a fair amount of fans that want to see them together. So who is going to replace the Briscoes? Drop it in the comments. Let me know who you think is going to replace them. Someone new? Some I don't know. 2 singles guys? It's really hard to say. But we're going to find out in a few days. Reports on Giselle Shaw. And so the Impact Wrestling Knockout competitor Giselle Shaw has disclosed she is a transgender woman to the wider public. Shaw, who joined Impact's roster in January of this year, informed Impact of her decision several months ago and made the disclosure in a series of interviews the other day. So, congrats to her for coming out. That's great news for her. And it just expands on the diversity of the Knockouts division. Some more against all odds news here. Mia Yim is joining forces with Mickie James to battle Chelsea Green and Deonna Purrazzo. I'm really liking this team of Chelsea Green and Deonna Purrazzo. Now, I have no doubt that Mia Yim and Mickie James can get along, but there's something about Chelsea Green and Deonna Purrazzo. They're just clicking. They're really clicking here. It's also announced that Raven is set to appear live at the Against All Odds Clockwork Orange House of Fun match. Jiminy Christmas. That place is going to burn to the ground. I tell you, that's not looking very good for it's not looking good for Moose. Because when you look at someone like Sami Callihan, it kind of feels like he's like the son of Raven in a sense, doesn't it? Good evening, Courtney. And I think that's it on the news front. Just wanted to give some updates on Against All Odds and a couple other things on Impact Wrestling related. Oh, I did get my tickets for Emergence. And the tapings after that. That's August 12th and 13th. Cicero Stadium in Chicago, Illinois. Super excited for Impact Wrestling's return to Chicago. This is why I'm drinking this at almost 11 o'clock at night. It's been a long day, but I didn't want to miss talking about this. All right. So that's it for the news. Yeah, I think that's pretty much it. Now, I know there's some other stuff that came out of Forbidden Door, but I have not heard specifics as far as injuries and whatnot. Thank you so much for the super sticker, Courtney. Thank you so much. Much love. I mean, I really hope there aren't any more because, man, this whole past few weeks has just been plagued with injuries nonstop. It's really nuts. It's really nuts how many there were recently. Courtney says Dax is injured. Now I know he was all taped up during the show, and he actually left the match. We'll get to that. So yeah, I haven't heard any other specifics. But we'll go through stuff and we'll talk about it. All right, so the pre-show. I actually watched the pre-show. This pre-show was actually really fun. It was a lot, I'll put it this way, it was a lot better than I thought it was going to be. We had, and there's some people here I'm not familiar with, but that's okay. It didn't take away from the excitement surrounding this. Now, even though it was like, it felt like this whole event was just cursed. But I tell you what, the way this event came off and the way this crowd was all night, you wouldn't have thought it was cursed at all. And this event actually came in just under 4 hours. So I was pleasantly surprised. This wasn't a, 5 or 6 hour show. Because I was really dreading watching this. I'm not going to lie. I was really dreading watching this. But they packed 4 matches in this pre-show. Talk about a loaded pre-show. Well, when you do like a go home, you can almost call Rampage a go home because they're talking about it on there too. And then you got a countdown, and then you got an extended countdown on your YouTube. You got all this stuff leading up to it. You don't need a ton of this on your pre-show. You really don't. If people want to know what's on it. Wrestling fans, people say that wrestling fans are dumb. Wrestling fans are not that dumb. If they want to find out what's on this show, they can find out what's on this show. Put some wrestling on the pre-show. And that's what they did here. That's what they did. Goto and Hashi. Now, I'm just using last names here because, I don't want to botch complete names here. So just bear with me here. Goto and Hashi defeated the Factory's QT Marshall and Aaron Solo. This was actually a fun tag match. And let me tell you something. This Chicago crowd was all about the New Japan wrestling. You would have thought that these guys were like wrestling in Chicago like every week. As much as they cheered for some of these New Japan guys. So my guess is there is a fair amount of New Japan fans in this crowd that watches this stuff on a regular basis. Like, see, that's one thing that we don't know, or at least I don't think we're privy to the information as far as how many Americans order the New Japan, let's call it the New Japan Network. I don't know what they call it. New Japan Pro Wrestling's streaming service. I have no idea. But like I said, the way this crowd was all night, you would have thought 16,000 strong in this arena knew exactly who was who. It was crazy. So Goto and Hashi beat QT Marshall and Aaron Solo. It was a fun opening tag match. And then we had a little change. We had Lance Archer versus Nick Comoroto. Now, it's funny because Lance Archer, my bad. Lance Archer. No, Lance Storm is not coming out of retirement. Yeah, you heard it here first. Jiminy Christmas. Now you know why I'm drinking this. Lance Archer. Oh my God. Just end it now. Lance Archer is actually, in a roundabout sort of way, representing New Japan right now, because he is going to be in an up and coming tournament in Japan very soon. Pardon my ignorance, I don't remember what the tournament is, but it's like their big one. It's, there's like the Super Junior one that just happened, and there's this one, I think it's called the G1. I think that's what it is. He's going to be a part of that. He's going over there. So, and I'm happy for him, because I think Lance Archer has been around long enough. He's talented enough. He should be featured in stuff like that. I wish he was put in more stuff in AEW, but it is what it is. I'm not gonna take up time tonight here to complain about something like that. But Nick Comoroto, that is a big guy, kind of a throwback, kind of a big, burly, hairy throwback. And just going up against a guy like Lance Archer, just, man, these two guys going at this was actually a lot of fun. And we're quickly reminded in this match the athleticism of someone like Lance as well. But Lance Archer beats him. Then we had El Desperado and Kanemaru, hoping I didn't botch that one, versus Swerve and Keith Lee. Now, I know there's been some stuff going on between Swerve and Keith Lee, because Swerve eliminated Keith Lee, so Keith Lee's been kind of, you can tell he doesn't completely trust him. And maybe this win here will help their relationship. Because I like these two guys together. They really flow together. I like it. But hey, it is what it is in wrestling. You gotta go for the win. Unfortunately, Keith Lee was in Swerve's way that night. So this was fun. This is not the first time I saw Kanemaru. He was part of that Super Juniors that I watched a few of the matches with, I was kind of watching the Alex Zane or the Ace Austin matches. And I'm pretty sure Kanemaru was in one of those or a couple of them. But he brings a big ass bottle of whiskey down to the ring. It's like, my God. People thought that, Stone Cold bringing a few beers down was outlandish. This guy brings down a whole bottle of whiskey. My God. And then spits it in someone's eyes. That's gotta burn like a mother. Crazy. Swerve and Keith Lee get the win here. And then this last one was so much fun. And this is when AEW just has a ton of fun. You're not supposed to take none of this too seriously. It's you got to throw a little comedy in with your wrestling. It's for when moments like, Mox is gushing blood everywhere. This is a match where you're like, oh, it's the lighter side of professional wrestling, and we all need that. I think it might not be everyone's cup of tea, but I had a lot of fun with this. So we had a bunch of guys representing the LA Dojo, which is the American dojo version of New Japan. They're starting over, creating a brand in America, and there was a bunch of these guys that came out of there. So there's there's Alex Coughlin, Uemura, TKC. I don't know what TKC stands for. Someone tell me what TKC stands for. And then Kevin Knight going up against Max Caster, the Ass Boys, and Billy Gunn. So of course Max Caster has to come out and, you know, humiliate them with a rap. And then the Ass Boys have to, like, you know, screw up what city they're in every time. And they said, I don't even know what the first city was that he screamed. The second guy of the Ass Boys, the other brother, screamed Green Bay. You can imagine how this Chicago crowd responded to him screaming Green Bay. And then Anthony Bowens, of course, corrects them both and screams Chicago. And then, you know, Billy Gunn is, you know, the guy that's pushing Anthony Bowens around in the wheelchair. So this was just a lot of fun. It was comedic stuff mixed with really good wrestling. And it's these LA Dojo guys are some guys you really want to keep an eye on. Like Kevin Knight, there's like the dojo guys that are still getting trained are all in black trunks. And once you graduate from the dojo, then you get to pick your own ring gear, like the Alex Coughlin, Clark Connors, I believe, is another guy who graduated. And there's a couple others that have been featured on the road in some of these New Japan shows that have been hopping around the country. I think they're either doing one or they just did one in Philly. Don't quote me on that, but I'm pretty sure Bill was there for that one, and they just did one in Chicago too. So they're hopping all over the country. I'm really hoping I can see one someday. They just got to find a new place to go to as far as, you know, Chicago, or, hey, come to Milwaukee, you know, why not? Plenty of places these New Japan guys can go to. But Max Caster, the Ass Boys, and Billy Gunn beat the LA Dojo guys from New Japan. Fun stuff. Then we go to the main card of Forbidden Door. Starts out with a match, and this is for the winner gets the advantage at Blood and Guts. So I imagine they're going to have like more people in at one time than the other team. So we got Jericho, Sammy Guevara, and Minoru Suzuki. Murder Grandpa is on this team. Dear God. Now, he's not going to be at Blood and Guts, as far as I know. But he was just in this match. Now, the way they were talking, it seemed like it was like a mild miracle that Jericho was able to talk Minoru Suzuki to team with him, because apparently there's some kind of beef between them or something. I'm not sure. Pardon me. All right, so then versus Eddie Kingston, Yuta, and Shota Umino. And Shota Umino really, like, I had no clue who this guy was from New Japan. He is the son of the ref whose name is, his nickname is Red Shoes. It's a famous ref in New Japan. I believe that's just retired recently within the last year or two. I think that's right. But this is his son, and he's really coming into his own. He kind of reminds me of a young Takahashi, who was in the Tanahashi, excuse me, Tanahashi. I get these mixed up sometimes. I'm sorry. Tanahashi reminded me of a young Tanahashi. But Jericho's team does get the win here with the Judas Effect, so they will have the advantage going into Wednesday's Blood and Guts. So it's the Jericho Appreciation Society versus Eddie Kingston's team, and there's one spot to fill. We find out later who that is. We'll get to that. It's this guy right here. It's behind me. It's the guy that everyone's talking about now. We found out who it is, but we'll get there. Winner takes all match. This tag match was just amazing. Such good storytelling. I'll tell you what, I see a lot of people ripping on AEW for this, that, and the other thing, complaining about this, complaining about that, but damn. The fact that they were able to pull this event off and put teams together in the ring like these three, it makes me so thankful that I'm a fan of this brand and that I had a chance to see this event. You had FTR, who's coming in with the Ring of Honor tag titles. You had Jeff Cobb and Great Khan, who are the New Japan heavyweight tag team title holders. And then you had Roppongi Vice coming in. That's Trent and Romero. And they don't have any belts. So, I mean, they could have walked out with all the belts, and then not even walked in with any. So, that's what they're going for too. But this was so good. It reminded me how good Roppongi Vice is. It also reminded me how good of a wrestler Jeff Cobb was, because I really hadn't seen him in a long time. I used to watch him in Lucha Underground all the time. He was the guy in the mask. He was Dario Cueto's brother. The Monster Matanza, I believe is what it was. God, it's a little fuzzy. It was a few years ago. And I'm not real familiar with this Great Khan guy, but man, these guys both have, good chemistry in the ring together. But then, of course, you got a team like FTR, and man, they just blew it out of the water. Of course, one of them is injured now. That's not good. So I don't know if we're going to have titles being vacated, or if they're just going to let FTR rest for a while, or maybe he's not injured that bad. Maybe he's just hurt and he's just got to give his shoulder a rest or something. I don't know. But man, but this was an amazing tag match. FTR takes this one, so they are the Ring of Honor and the New Japan Pro Wrestling Tag Team Champions. Now, one thing I did not see here was who is the injured. I always get these two guys mixed up. Let me see if it says it in this article here. FTR wins. Okay, so Dax is the one who was hurt or injured or whatever. But I tell you, man, after watching the media scrum, he looked like, I mean, he was all wrapped up, with the plastic wrap and the ice bag and everything. He grimaced once in a while during the media scrum, but man, he was still so happy that they won, or that just that they were able to be a part of this. They have so much pride in this brand, and it really shows. And I tell you what, I say over and over again that the Young Bucks are my favorite tag team. But man, FTR is really, really slowly creeping in there. And like, they have been for a while. It's just, I don't talk about them that much. But every time they pull off something like this, it's just, man. I mean, and those two teams, look, Young Bucks and FTR, they're two completely different teams. And that's okay. It's like, oh, Young Bucks is your favorite team, so that must mean you only like tag team wrestling like that. No, I just love tag team wrestling. Down and dirty stuff like FTR, come to the ring and they just leave it all out there. Or the high flying stuff like Young Bucks. I love it all. But I tell you what, that FTR is slowly becoming one of my favorites, and they may take that top. They keep doing what they're doing, they may take that top spot. Sorry, Young Bucks, I love you, but damn, FTR just might have to take all the damn belts, and cement their legacy. I mean, they already are cementing their legacy. They're just killing it. They're killing it. Next, we got the finals. The AEW All Atlantic title finals. We got, okay, so here's another case where injuries, affected this one too, sadly. Clark Connors replaced Ishii. Ishii had I don't know what, a bum knee or something, I don't know. But Ishii beat Clark Connors for a chance to wrestle in this. So then Clark Connors got the opportunity because Ishii couldn't. So I think that's how they made sense or something. So yeah, Clark Connors, who they call the of course he's not the Rhino, but he's referred to as the Rhino. It's not the Rhino that we all think of, because we're older wrestling fans. Versus Pac versus Malachi Black versus Miro. And this one was a lot of fun too. I mean, honestly, I'll tell you, there was not a bad match on this card. There were certainly ones that were more exciting than others, but there was not a bad match on this card. To see, I gotta give props right away to Clark Connors. Man, he got beat up in this match like a redheaded stepchild. Seriously, he'd get in the ring after being thrown out, and he'd surprise someone with a big move. The crowd would pop and be like, yeah. I mean, the crowd really got behind Clark Connors because they saw him as the underdog in this match. And you quickly found out how much fight is in this dog, because, not a lot of people knew who this dog was. But Clark Connors would pull off a move, get a pop, someone else would hit him from behind, throw him out of the ring. I can't tell you how many times during this match that this happened. It's like, oh, there goes Clark again. Poor son of a bitch. But seeing Malachi Black and Miro go back and forth, which it almost seemed like they were trying to form an alliance, and then it became like a one-up thing, trying to one-up each other. But Pac ends up winning, and this is so refreshing to see a guy like Pac win this when it really seemed like either Miro or Malachi Black was going to win this one, because they all had a significant amount of momentum, especially with Miro just coming back, but Malachi Black's just been killing it, and he even misted Miro. I mean, he misted him to the point where his entire, from head to like chest, was just solid black. It was so funny. I was like, oh my God, because like sometimes someone gets misted and they get like part of an eye or something. No, this, like, he just completely covered his face. But the crowd was really, I think, pleasantly surprised and happy that Pac won this one. So, look, and I know there's a lot of people knocking this, saying, "Oh yeah, well, there's people going for this All Atlantic title, and there's not even on the Atlantic." It's like, all right, I got a D in geography, so I am the last person to sit and complain about things like this. So you won't hear. I'll be the guy that talks about this brand. Who you're not going to hear, complaining about. And if I ever do, just J-Bo, just shut up. You got a D in geography. Okay. I won't talk about it. I mean, I'll talk about it, but I won't complain about it. All right. But I'm really. Is this Pac's first title in AEW? Like in 3 years that he's been with this company? I was trying to remember. Like, I know, like, I'm thinking like Death Triangle. Like, I know Phoenix and Pentagon have been tag title holders. But I don't know if Pac's ever. Now, and another thing I can't remember is if they actually did like the thing, where they damn it. You got 3 people in a group and you're defending your tag titles, and you never know which 2 out of the 3 are going to defend them. And it's some kind of rules. I can't remember. It's right on the tip of my tongue. I can picture the tag team. I can picture Michael Hayes. I can picture Terry Gordy and some other guy, and I can't remember what the hell. Someone's going to remind me in the chat, and I'm going to kick myself. Freebird rules. Thank you, Zach. You don't think they did? Okay, yeah, I can't remember. But nonetheless, I think this is Pac's first title. So congrats to Pac. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. Whatever. I'm still happy for him. Next, man, and these matches just get nuttier and nuttier. We got the Young Bucks, and they have rejoined the Bullet Club. They even pulled out. Now, this is cool. If you watch BTE, I know a lot of people don't, but if you do, they actually show the footage of like Matt Jackson going through old merch tubs or old wrestling gear tubs and looking for old gear to wear, like throwback, because they were going to be in the Bullet Club. I'm using my quote fingers for those listening audio. They're going to be back in the Bullet Club for one night. and wrestling with El Phantasmo, and Hikuleo is going to be at ringside too. Now, this is another match that got messed up because someone got injured on the New Japan side. All right, so it's Young Bucks and El Phantasmo, which was actually a lot of fun, versus Shingo Takagi, and this is one guy who I know is very popular, but I've never seen him wrestle before. And so tonight was actually the first time I've seen him wrestle. Darby Allin, Sting, and the fourth guy that was supposed to be there was Takahashi, I believe. And I always get him mixed up with Tanahashi. But it was Takahashi. Because I know this because Tanahashi's in the main event. See? So but yeah, he had a fever like a few days before, so he couldn't travel or something. So hopefully he gets better from whatever he has. I mean, yeah, we assume it's that, but you never know. But Darby Allin, Sting, and Shingo Takagi get the win here. Oh, I do want to talk about Sting here for a minute. Sting is crazy. So, like, before the match even starts, the lights go out, a spotlight goes up in the rafters, and I couldn't even tell like what was up there. It was just some kind of figure, and it was supposed to be Sting or something. Darby Allin's already in the ring, and the Young Bucks and the Bullet Club are on stage still because they're just coming out to their entrance. Lights go out again, and Young Bucks and El Phantasmo and Hikuleo are looking around, and all of a sudden they look up behind them, and there's Sting, and he dives like, I don't know how many feet this dive is. It's like a 10, 15-foot dive, crossbody onto all of them, takes them all out. Darby Allin runs up, starts beating them all with the skateboard. Shingo is up there beating him. So this just starts out bonkers right away. The fact that Sting is in his 60s? And he's doing these dives, these high dives. Like, I don't know if this is like him wanting to do this and just like get it out of his system, or is this someone like coaxing him to do this? Because it's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. Like, I don't know what's crazier, Sting doing this or Ric Flair getting back in the ring. Honestly, I mean, I should put up a poll like tomorrow on social media somewhere and be like, all right, what's crazier here? Ric Flair wanting one more match, which there's a lot of people against it. So a lot of people are for it because they just love Ric Flair and they don't care, which is fine. To each their own. You want to watch the guy die in the ring? That's on you. That doesn't sound like a fun night out on the town for me. So what's crazier? Rick getting back in the ring for one last match. Mind you, this guy is a pacemaker and he almost died in the hospital a couple years ago. Or Sting risking his own life by diving between 10 to 20 feet down on top of these guys, praying to God that they catch him. And it looked kind of a rough landing too, but damn, he was an absolute riot to watch in this match because he was just, Sting is Sting. He's tough. Nothing hurts him, right? Unless you stick him in the yam bag, as Taz would say. He was no selling like crazy. It was really kind of funny. But the crowd was popping for this. It was just this match was just a ton of fun. And of course, Darby Allin's the crazy man doing the coffin drop to the outside of the ring on top of people. He took out, who did he take out? He took out Hikuleo. I think that's who he took out. Um, but yeah. Um, all right. So next, all right. So Sting, Darby Allin, and Shingo Takagi won this one. Now we got the AEW women's title match. Now, this is like the only one that really, I always say this, wrestling, let's not overthink this. But if you do want to throw a spin on this and kind of make it sense so that it's like New Japan and AEW, Tony Storm did spend a significant amount of time in Japan in the Joshi division there, in wrestling with women in Japan. So you could say she was kind of on the New Japan side of things if you like really want to twist this. But that's about as far as I could twist it as far as having it like make sense for this event. But this is just, I'm not complaining that it was part of it by all means. This match was actually pretty good. One of the better ones I think I've seen Tony Storm and Thunder Rosa. Thunder Rosa did defend successfully in her ring gear. Unbelievable. It was like an Azteca, like authentic Aztec warrior. But she defends successfully here. We'll see what's next for Thunder Rosa. And put it in the comments, whether it's, live or on the replay, who do you want to see Thunder Rosa defend against next? There's a lot of women on that roster. Now we've got the IWGP United States title, the US title. We got Orange Cassidy versus Will Ospreay defending his championship. Now, even though he didn't have it because a certain guy from the Bullet Club still has it. Poor Will. But he did come out there with his Rev Pro British championship. And this is another one that is, it's got a fair amount of comedy, but it also had a lot of really good wrestling back and forth. And and they made you feel like, Orange was maybe going to take this, and they're kind of hot potatoing it anyways between Juice and now Will's got it. So who knows? You never. I guess I always say never assume in professional wrestling. But this was a lot of fun. Will Ospreay does successfully retain, though. Of course, the numbers are against Orange Cassidy. Aussie Open was out there, and then they start beating up Orange Cassidy. Roppongi Vice tries to come and help out, but they get beat down for their troubles. And then Shibata showed up, and the place just lost it. Like I know who Shibata is, and I've heard stories about how he was gone for a long time, and then he took over the LA dojo, but he wasn't really actively wrestling. But he showed up here and stared down Will Ospreay. So I don't know if Shibata's going after the US title or what, but man, him showing up at this was a pleasant surprise for these fans. And I've heard stuff about him, but I've really never, beyond what I saw him do in the ring tonight, I really have not seen him wrestle much. But I have heard some crazy stuff, like the matches that he and Okada had, which ended up putting Shibata on the shelf. At least I think it was Okada. Don't quote me on that, but I think it was. So, but yeah, I suppose I should take my own advice. Like I always tell people, just look it up on YouTube and go watch some matches. Maybe I'll actually do that sometime and check out some Shibata matches. Next we got Zack Saber Jr. Okay, the big mystery of Forbidden Door. Who was going to walk through that door and face Zack Saber Jr. and who was also in the same breath gonna be the next member of the Blackpool Combat Club. Well, there was a few names out there getting tossed around. And the one that showed up was absolutely one of the names. Claudio, formerly Cesaro in the WWE, is all elite. So, him showing up had the biggest smile on his face. He is so, and then listening to him in the scrum afterwards, he is so happy to be here. It's like a breath of fresh air. He's like, I'm like a kid in a candy store because he's got all this new talent to face, and he loves wrestling. And that's wrestling is the key thing here. He loves wrestling. And yeah, you could say, well, he's been wrestling for the last 10 plus years in WWE. Well, yeah, was he wrestling or was he sports entertaining? Because he was doing some wrestling, sure. He had some great matches, but he never got the big one. And I really think he was damn good enough to hold that big one too. Should have had that top title. But in a place like AEW, I think he's got a really good chance to. But he showed up. The place went nuts. I love his new, his entrance music. And he just went out there and he and Zack Saber Jr. just tore it up. They just tore it up. And I haven't seen Zack wrestle in a long time. I used to watch him wrestle all the time when he was part of Evolve. But I used to, here we go again. When I used to watch on Flow Slam, yep, there it is. And Zack was champ. But yeah, and then he was also part of that. What happened right after that? He was part of that. The Cruiserweight tournament, part of WWE, and that was a lot of fun too. And then they actually created 205 Live out of a bunch of those guys that were in it. Zack, they were trying to sign Zack. Zack didn't want to sign. So, but anyways, back to this. So Claudio comes in and, man, he just tore up Zack. I mean, it was a good back and forth. It was not one-sided very much. It could have went either way, but Claudio got the big win here. And we also know now that he is the guy who is going to help fill that spot for Bryan Danielson in Blood and Guts as well. So he's going to team with Mox, Eddie Kingston, and that whole crew. Trying to think who else is. Yuta and Santana and Ortiz. So the 6-on-6. Yeah. It's going to be nuts. On to the main event here, the IWGP Heavyweight Championship. Oh, not the main event. Excuse me. One more. you could almost call this a co-main event because there was a lot of hype behind this one too. There was, there were people just losing their minds while watching this live. Holy cow. Like a holy shit chant breaking out before it even started. It's just, it was nuts. So we had Adam Cole, baby, versus Hangman Adam Page versus Okada versus Jay White defending it. This one, my God, just when you thought that this whole event couldn't get better leading up to the main event, and then the main event with Mox and Tanahashi had to follow this. My God. And just, there was a feeling in the air during this match that any one of these guys could have won this. That's what the feeling in the air was like. Just looking at people, like it felt that big, like it was anybody's game. Jay White does successfully win this one. Now the end was kind of awkward. Now Adam Cole did walk out under his own power, but I don't know, like I didn't hear any reports after last night to how banged up Adam Cole was. Like there was something, like he seemed fine right up until the point where he was laying there next to the turn in the corner of the ring right before he got pinned. Like he and Okada were going back and forth, and Okada put a few. Now I don't know Okada well enough to know if this was like one of his finishers. Of course, is the lariat or the clothesline, the Rainmaker. But he had some other moves that I'm guessing were like signature moves of his that Adam Cole took, and he seemed fine, but then he collapsed the last time that Okada was doing the was trying to do the Rainmaker on the clothesline. And then he took one more move and then rolled to the corner and was just kind of had his arm over his head. Like, I don't know if he was just protecting himself or what, but something was off, and Jay White actually rolled Adam Cole out of the corner, hooked his leg and pinned him. And Adam Cole looked like he was trying to kick out, but like just couldn't. So the whole thing was just kind of awkward. But the match was amazing. Don't get me wrong. So, and I'm sure in the days, if I do a little more research, I can see exactly what happened, and I'm sure we'll find out eventually. But this was a lot of fun. So Jay White did successfully defend his title. And man, was he a jerk at the media scrum. Man, he was. Yeah, Courtney here in the comments here says the media scrum after with Jay White. Damn, he was about to rip someone's head off because he couldn't get the title on the placeholder. Yeah. Well, he just plopped it on there, and the whole thing fell on the floor, and then he just he's just screaming at people, and it really took Tony back. Tony was he was like, whoa, he wasn't expecting that. Or he sold it well, like he knew it was going to happen. But yeah, Jay White, what a heel, right? Good champ, though. Great wrestler. One of the best today. AEW. I hate using that word, interim title, but it is what it is. Mox versus Tanahashi. I know that Tanahashi is referred to as the ace in Japan. He is like the be-all, end-all, like the John Cena. He was on top during a really rough period of New Japan and helped get them through it. And it's like, you hear little things about him. And I haven't seen a ton of Tanahashi matches. I've seen a fair amount over the years here and there. But this was one I was really going to pay attention to. And this could have, I tell you, there was a few times during this match I really thought that we were going to have Tanahashi as a new AEW champ. But I was pulling for Mox. And what shocked me is how much the crowd was behind Tanahashi. I mean, at one point, it was dead 50-50. And then towards the end of this match, it was all Tanahashi and barely any Mox chance. It just kind of shocked me. Like, wow. And it's not like Mox was even acting that heelish either. I mean, he was acting like his normal self, but he really was, he had his back up against the wall in this match. He knew how good Tanahashi was. And he's been chasing him for years. And he finally had the opportunity. But that opportunity came with a huge price. It wasn't just a match for like bragging rights. No. There's a championship on the line here, which is making him the second, this is the second time he's been AEW champ. And I tell you, listening to Moxley after this match in the scrum was really something too. If you have a chance, listen to Mox in that media scrum. It's really something. Talking about what he's been going through the last few years, and then to get to this point, it feels like it's this kind of closes a chapter in a sense for him, I think. But this match was amazing. Mox gets the win, and then we get a preview of Blood and Guts at the end of this. There's just when you thought it was going to be just, Mox celebrating, maybe cleaning up a little bit, maybe a handshake to Tanahashi. No, he gets his ass kicked. Tanahashi gets his ass kicked because Jericho and Garcia come down. The rest of Jericho's crew comes down. The rest of the William Regal and his whole crew, the Blackpool Combat Club come down. So Claudio comes down. The place goes nuts. Yuta's down there. The only one that's not down there is, Bryan Danielson. And it's I think I heard someone say on a radio show earlier today when I was listening to different people's opinions on the show and what could have happened and what didn't happen, or what they thought should have happened, is Punk coming down and presenting the title to Mox. Well, you couldn't do that if you were doing this big brawl at the end. You just couldn't, because he literally just had surgery. So it would have been, do one or the other. And Punk doesn't need to be in there when he's all banged up. He could just, take time at home, heal up. He'll be back. And when he's ready, which is, who knows when he's going to come back? We don't know. It's all been real hush-hush as far as what exactly is wrong with, what's wrong with Punk. But anyways, but yeah, so we get a Blood and Guts preview. We can't wait till Wednesday. It's going to be nuts. I don't know how much of that 2-hour episode is actually going to be the blood and guts. Because last time they had something like that, it was actually pay-per-view. This one's free TV. So I don't know exactly how much blood and how much guts they're going to show. I suppose we're going to find out soon enough, right? Well, hopefully, I can deal with some blood, but hopefully no guts. My God, let's not get crazy here. But that's the show. I mean, like I said, for a show that was plagued with umpteenth injuries and questions of who is going to make it and were they going to actually be able to pull this off? I tell you, this was amazing. It was a lot better than I thought it was going to be, because I really went into this with zero expectations. I just knew that the matches were going to be fun. Like on paper, it seemed like fine. And I try to look at it from like there's people just losing their minds looking at this card. Like, oh my God, this is horrible. Blah, 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 blah. I didn't see anything wrong with this. Okay. I'm not saying it was event of the year. There's some that are calling this show of the year. I don't know if I'm going to call it that. It's all subjective. I'm not that big of a New Japan guy, but I am learning more because of all the stuff that's happening across the U.S. now with, the touring strong brand. So that makes me more interested. So I am watching a little more, and I'm starting to learn who some of these, dojo guys are that are touring, so it's interesting. They're really good. And then you had, so many come over and make this as special as it was. I mean, shoot, you go back a few days before that. You had Okada show up in Milwaukee. How crazy is that? You had Mox tagging with Tanahashi in Milwaukee. That's unbelievable. That goes back to that thing I was talking about, how, special things happen in Milwaukee when it comes to professional wrestling. It's not always, but that was a pretty fun night, that Dynamite. So, but nonetheless, so yeah, that's Forbidden Door. And so let me know what you thought about it, good or bad. It don't matter. I mean, I saw a lot of people crapping on it today, but, that didn't stop me from wanting to watch it. I wish, I'll say this before I get out of here. I wish people would put as much energy into loving what they love that they do hating on stuff. Because it seems like lately there's a lot more hating on stuff and a lot less loving on stuff. It's crazy. But it is what it is. That's the world we live in. People love to nitpick stuff and find things to complain about and cut down and things like that. And it is what it is. I look at this brand. Is it perfect? No. By all means, no. But damn, the wrestling is a lot of fun. And the events are what they are. I'm too old for looking for stupid negative shit. I don't have time for it. I don't have time for it. So do I look at this brand like it's perfect? No, but I treat it for what it is. I try not to overthink it, and I just appreciate these guys trying to put on a hell of a show. I mean, this show was really cursed, and it ended up being amazing. Am I gonna, like I said, am I gonna call it show of the year? No, probably not. Some are, some aren't, but it was a lot of fun. So I'll give this for what it is, for who I knew on this card. I'll give this show a B plus. It's about as good as I can give it, because I'm not as knowledgeable about New Japan stuff as I could be, but I'm still learning, so it is what it is. But it was a lot of fun. I'm glad I watched it. I'm glad I took the time to run down the card and give you guys the results and give my thoughts on the show, because it was, I mean, honestly, it'd be cool if, there weren't so many injuries and you had a few more people on the card, and this card subject to change, people. What are you going to do? It's life. Just glad they pulled off what they did, So that's it. Let me know in the comments what you thought of it, like I said, and on your way out, make sure you smash that like button, smash that sub button, ring that bell for notifications. Why? So that you know when more of my content hits your screen. We'll be back tomorrow night on that other little podcast called Total Nonstop Impact. I think, I missed a few conversations over the weekend, but I believe what the plan is we are going to review Slammiversary from 2018. I'm not sure exactly why, but I think it's missing from the channel, and I think it's from one that it was right after the channel started, and they were supposed to do it, and they didn't do it. So we're going to do it. So we're going to go back 4 years. We're going to watch that show. I don't know how I'm going to watch it, but nonetheless, we're going to find it somewhere, hopefully. And we're going to review that, and then we're going to do our Patreon show right after that. So stay tuned for that tomorrow night, and we'll see you then. Take care, everyone. Good night.